Today's word is stupendous.
You need some encouragement.
We really love listening to you guys.
You need some inspiration.
Love your podcast. Wonderfully inspiring as I think about my marriage.
Like little memorials to me, and I should put it right there on top of the dishwasher and right there on top of the sink and right there on top of the washer and dryer. It'd be like little bobbleheads, like memorials. Like, I did this one time. I did this. I did it.
One time.
Stupendous marriage encouragement.
You're listening to the Stupendous Marriage Show.
Hey there, welcome to the Stupendous Marriage Show. I'm Stu Gray.
Hey, I'm Lisa Gray.
This is a show where we answer marriage questions. They come from you, and you send them to us on air at stupendousmarriage.com. You can text them our way, 1-615-592-1060, or you can send them via our website, stupendousmarriage.com. Look for the big blue button.
Yeah, our heart is really to inspire you, encourage you, and challenge you in your marriage. Through your questions, we love to be able to just give our thoughts. Not that we have it all together or anything, but just things that maybe we have learned or read in books that might be able to help you in whatever you may be dealing with.
Yes, so how you doing? How's things? How's life? How's everything under the sun?
It's good. It's good. You know, we had a really neat event in our city recently in Nashville, and it was the NFL draft. And I've been hearing about it coming to town for like months. Everybody was like, oh, yeah, the draft's coming. And of course, I've never watched the draft. Have you ever watched it before?
Never.
Yeah, I imagined in my head just, I guess from the movies, when you've seen it in the movies, you know, that they call the person's name and say what team is going to be signing them, and the person comes on the stage and it's some big hoo-ha, but it's really not exciting, or at least it didn't sound like it in my mind to me at all.
Yeah, the only thing I relate to the NFL draft is Cuba Gooding Jr. and Jerry Maguire. Show me the money! Show me the money!
That's funny!
Show me the money! That's about all, you know, when I think NFL draft, that's what I think. So.
Yeah, and so then some of our friends, it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and some of our friends went on Thursday and took their kids, and their kids were doing all these cool things like playing scrimmage football and doing these different games. And I'm like, what is that? Because that's not what I imagined it to be. So we got to go down right at the very end. It literally was ending on Saturday at 6 o'clock, and we got there at 5? Yeah. And got to just experience a little bit of it. And I just wish we would have gone sooner because it was incredible.
Yeah, apparently Nashville did a really good job hosting them and getting them here and doing all this sort of stuff. So, I mean, we got to see a lot of the NFL stuff. It was still on display. There were still tons of people. There was a concert going on. But, yeah, we didn't get to see all the events. They put out all the SuperBowl rings from the beginning to last year's in this circular type of little pavilion type deal.
Yeah, it was locked down. They were like a security guard and
pretty closely. It was really cool, though. It was so crazy. Like, I thought the first SuperBowl ring was big, and then you get around to last year's and the thing is honking almost the size of a fist. I'm like, what? That's nuts.
Yeah. Well, and I was surprised by the security. Like, you could walk ring to ring, but it was behind a glass wall, double glass wall. And it was really cool. I just felt kind of silly because I had no idea it was a new ring every year and that it was based on whoever won.
Yeah, they don't get it the day they win because they don't know who's going to win.
I didn't know that.
That's
I
funny.
just assumed that it's, because usually trophies, when you win something, it's just a generic trophy with your name gets put on it later. I didn't know the whole rings are designed around the team that wins.
I just wonder how they get them now. I mean, does Amazon airdrop them? One morning do they show up and there's an Amazon envelope on their front doorstep and has the ring in it? I mean, is that how they deliver them now? I just was wondering myself.
I doubt it, because from my understanding, they are worth a lot of money.
Oh, yes.
So I'm to have one of those, not just because the actual, of course, metal and diamonds and all that's on it, but just the
rubies and pearls and gems.
Just the value of the significance of it is very, very cool.
Doing something a little bit different today. We're going to the Bible to get some wisdom for our marriage. Hold on. We can get wisdom for our marriages from all sorts of places, and that could be books, that could be counselors, that could be our pastors, that can be various sources. And I figured that we go to one of the top sources for us, which is the Bible. and just go through Proverbs a little bit. I was doing some reading in Proverbs. I'm like, these are not traditionally the verses that you think of when you think of marriage and relationships, but there's a lot of wisdom in the book of Proverbs. And I was like, man, there's just so many in this one chapter. I just figured we'd read a couple and then have a discussion related to them. Maybe they will inspire you and help you in your relationship too. So we're going to Proverbs 17. And the first one that I saw in Proverbs 17 is verse 9. And that says, in my version, it says, disregarding another person's faults preserves love. Telling about them separates close friends. Interesting to me that if you're talking negatively about someone, you're going to cause separation. Disregarding another person's faults preserves love. Telling about them separates close friends. It goes to what you focus on. Again, you're talking about disregarding another person's faults, and we always talk about, what you focus on grows. And it's right there. It says, hey, maybe you don't call out the negative things all the time. If you disregard the negative things, you'll stay closer together. Not that you should completely ignore them, but don't call them out because it can separate you. I just thought that was interesting. Found it in the Bible. I'm like, that's awesome.
My version, which is the NIV version, says, whoever would foster love covers over an offense, but whoever repeats the matter separates close friends. And it really talking about, first part, of course, is talking about offense, deciding whether or not you're going to be offended or if you're going to show that person love. And then the second part is really, I feel like, talking about what you said, repeating the matter is causing division. The whole saying of women nag their husbands. There's got to be some truth to it on some level because everybody thinks that and says that, right? Mm-hmm. So at some point in time, people have tended to do that. Women have tended to do that. So if we as women can really intentionally not bring up something our husband did 6 months ago, 6 years ago, 20 years ago.
6 minutes ago.
Right. Obviously, if there's a problem, if it's something that he continues to do over and over, you need to sit down and have a discussion, but you don't necessarily have to bring up every time he's done it. Right. And so I think making sure as women that we're not holding offense towards our husbands and not continuing to bring up stuff, I think is super important in our marriage.
Well, that was the style of communication that I was brought up with. I heard that type of communication in my parents. And so I brought that to my marriage, bringing things up from the past and using the list to win the argument. And that really didn't work very well. And I think moving on to another verse, Proverbs 17:13, if you repay evil for good, evil will never leave your house. Whatever you define evil as, but negativity for sure. If you repay evil for good.
So negativity for good.
Right? If you're negative when your spouse tries to do something good for you, you disregard it. You poo-poo the nice thing that they do. This, whatever the smallest thing is, it says that negativity, that evil will never leave your house. Right? Mm-hmm. At least that's what I gather from it. So it's like, are you disregarding the small little positive things that your spouse could possibly be doing for you? And if you're always looking for the evil, guess what's always going to be hanging around? That evil, negative thought in your household.
Well, and it also goes to not just what they're doing for you today, but thinking about what they've done. In the Bible, there's so many times where there are memorials built for something. So God over and over again is trying to teach us that we need to remember things, that we need to think and ponder and celebrate things that he has done, right? Well, what if we also do that in our marriages? Instead of thinking about today that you didn't unload the dishwasher, maybe thinking about 2 weeks ago when you did and going, man, I'm so grateful that he did it 2 weeks ago. I'm going to do it today with a positive attitude and a positive heart. And so again, it's all about what we're focusing on and thinking about in the positives that we remember or whether we're focusing on the negatives.
I think that's a really good idea. I need to get like a bobblehead of myself, like little memorials to me. And I should put it right there on top of the dishwasher and right there on top of the sink and right there on top of the washer and dryer. It'd be like little bobbleheads, like memorials. Like, I did this one time. I did this. I did it.
One time. In your defense, you generally actually unload our dishwasher, so you do it probably more than I do. But still, it was just a good example. It was the one that popped in my head.
Okay. Proverbs 17:14, the next verse. Beginning a quarrel is like opening a floodgate. So drop the matter before a dispute breaks out.
It seems like a lot of these in this specific Proverbs of 17 are about division.
Yep.
About not allowing division to come into your relationships. And I think that is so important and good because that, I feel like, is really where the enemy likes to play. He's not going to come in and like just make your spouse be possessed. I mean, I guess it does happen, but hopefully not very often.
Right.
You know, he's going to come in little subtle ways and try to cause an offense, try to cause division in your marriage. And so really not allowing that, being completely aware in the moment that I'm going to choose to not be offended over XYZ, I think is so significant.
I went to expectations here because if something's not meeting your expectation and I go "Blah!" all over you and begin to fight with you, then that causes a problem. And if I can rein that in, if I can reel that in and try to rethink that, drop the expectation of what I think or the fantasy I had in my head or the fake thing that I thought was going to happen, if I can like nip that in the bud, then I don't have to fight. I can stop it before it happens. It's taking that pause and going, wait, this is not my expectation. And do I really need to be upset about it? And I'm just preaching to myself here because I don't do this very well, but it says it in the Bible, so I really need to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on. Proverbs 17, verse 17. Now this one's about friends. A friend is always loyal, and a brother is born to help in time of need. And we think that marriage is an intimate friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a loyalty to your spouse. There is a loyalty in so many different ways, in purity with them and honoring them and cheering them on when they're doing well and speaking honestly to them when it's not going so great and being a sounding board. And my wife is my sister in Christ, and I am her brother in Christ. So my friend is always loyal, and my sister or brother is born to help in time of need. And that goes back to Genesis. It's like she is a helpmeet, and that doesn't mean, you know, someone who just serves me. It is an opposite and equal power in going in the same direction. And that's what we always say around here is like, we don't battle each other with the thing that we're fighting between us. We try to link arms and put that thing out in front of us and go after it together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's linking arms and going at it together as friends and as brother and sister in Christ, and husband and wife too, obviously. One of my favorite verses in the Bible, Proverbs 17:22. A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit saps a person's strength.
I love that one. I really do. I actually know that one. There's not many that I feel like when I hear them in Proverbs, I know it. But I'm like, I know that one. Because I do think that joy is such a significant part of our happiness. The happily ever after, which is not real. It's not realistic to be a 24/7 thing. When we can have joy, I think that happiness or some level of it can come from that in our marriage.
I have to go from the negative side of this right now, unfortunately. I've been in a season where I have been feeling like I have a broken spirit. I haven't been spending enough time with God. I haven't been feeling well necessarily. I haven't been...
Physically,
right,
you've not been feeling well,
right.
yeah.
So I've been in my head a lot. I've had some fear about that. And so I haven't been very cheerful lately. I mean, conversations that we've had lately have been me saying, I've just been in my head and I'm sorry. I know I've been in this negative place and I just feel down on myself. And unfortunately, that creates a negative weather system around me.
Right, yeah.
And I thankfully have noticed it, but even in our fights and stuff, we've felt like we've been under attack more, and we both realized it after we've yelled at one another. At least we realized it sometime.
Yeah.
It used to be that we didn't realize it at all. But I've got to remember this. A cheerful heart is good medicine. There's a worship guy. His name's Rick Pino. His song is Cheerful Heart is Good Medicine, but he sings it with his daughter. The recording is so cute. It's really, really cool. And so I'll probably link to it in the show notes for the show. But it's really getting there and remembering that it's the joy of the Lord is my strength. It's not my own joy. It's the joy of the Lord. But if I'm not like in relationship with him and doing relationship with him, I don't have as much access to it.
someone was teaching about prayer, and they said, instead of doing what we normally do, which is, thank you for today and pray for this, and we need this, and can you take care of this while you're at it? Instead of doing it that way, actually just starting out your prayer with praying about who God is. And thank you that you are this, Lord. And thank you that you are faithful. Thank you that you have not forsaken us. And that by the time you get done with those, a lot of times all those little things that you're going to ask him for are no longer important because you remember who he is. It's not about what he can do for you, but it's remembering who he is to you. And that kind of changes your prayer life.
The Acts model of prayer is a really good one to remember. A, adoration. C, confession. T, thanksgiving. S, supplication. And the last one I think we're going to hit on is the last verse of the chapter. Even fools are thought to be wise when they keep silent. When they keep their mouths shut, they seem intelligent.
Nice.
And that's why this show is shorter than 30 minutes long, because we're trying to be quiet.
No, not really. But I think in your marriage, there are seasons for being quiet. I know for you and I went through a season in our marriage that the Lord told me, like, you need to be quiet. You just need to be quiet and just release him to me. And it was really good for me because it made me realize that I can't change you. I can't control you. And at the end of the day, I can just pray for you, honestly, and try to love you the best I can. And sometimes loving you in silence is the best way I can do it.
And I know I say stupid stuff when I don't stay quiet, because I say stuff either I don't mean or I say it in a hurtful way. I don't speak the truth in love. I just speak bleh.
Right, especially if we're fighting or disagreeing about something.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully those verses, we will list all of them in our show notes. They're encouragement to you. And if you've got a verse that has encouraged your marriage, we would love to hear from you. You can always find us on Facebook. Look for Stupendous Marriage Show. On Instagram, it's Stupendous Marriage. And on Twitter, couldn't do Stupendous Marriage, it's at Stupendous Duo. So find us in those places, and we'll talk to you next time.
See ya. Yeah.
Like the show? Like the show.
Yeehaw.
Share the podcast. Tell another couple.
Hold on. Hold up. I've not been doing outtakes, correct?
No, I have not.
Why not?
Because we haven't had any good ones.
Oh my gosh. I need to make really weird noises or something like that.
Ready?
Or fumble. Like blah, 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 blah. Is that what you need? You were done, obviously. It's
the only thing that
really not exciting sounding to me at all.
Say that again, sorry. Really not exciting. Is that how they develop? Is that how they? Is that how they deliver them now? We're doing something different today. We've got some new.
Okay, let's start over. Yeah.
Like the show. Like the show. Share the podcast. Tell your married friends.
Yeah.